Welcome back to Esoteric Wisdom with your host Cheryl Keaton and your co-host Rebecca Drake.
Hello.
What were we just talking about? We were talking about faking it till you make it when it comes to feeling entitled enough to follow your joy, your passion, when it comes to, let's say, doing what you do best, what you love to do, helping people, healing people, and maybe even monetizing that.
Right.
So, maybe talk about that a little bit because, God, people have some negative beliefs when it comes to that, don't they?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we can't monetize this stuff. This should be free because
Exactly.
all doctors at the hospitals that save people's lives, they don't get paid either. I mean, they're saving lives. Come on now, that should be free. They shouldn't get paid to give that service to people. Why? How could you take money for giving the gift of life back to somebody, right? So why do we have the double standard when it comes to spiritual healing? There shouldn't be a double
Exactly.
standard. Money is a neutral symbol. It's just a symbol
Yeah.
for abundance. And it's unfortunately how the world works. If you want to walk into a grocery store, this is what Bashar says, I love it. He said, you don't want to participate in the whole money thing anymore. I got it. Go into the grocery store and fill your cart up with groceries. And as you walk out the door without paying, just let the guards know that you're not participating anymore in this whole money
Thing.
thing. Just let them know, and everything will be fine. I'm sure. I'm sure. Okay. Until that day, money, you can define it in any way you want. Again, it's neutral. It's just a thing we do, and you can put your own meaning, you can put your own definition on that. And is it going to be positive or negative? If it's going to be negative, you're not going to have money. And well, let's face it, we want money. It's not a
Exactly.
greedy thing. If you feel entitled enough with what you do best, serving people, you can spend your time, doing whatever you do at a job, working for somebody, selling them food or whatever all day long, and you know that you're not doing what you came here to do, but you have to do that anyways because you have to get paid and blah blah blah. Well, throw the whole negative definition about money out and serve man in the way that you do best by healing them, and the abundance that you get from that, you're entitled to because you're doing honest, genuine work from your heart, from your soul. And what happens when you live and you do your joy and you do the best that you can, you get rewarded. Everybody should be able to follow their joy, and the universe is going to give you more of what you need to be able to follow your joy. The universe should provide for you, and the only reason it doesn't is because we don't believe it will.
Exactly. That is a huge negative belief, a huge block for a lot of people. And it's kind of I don't know how you feel about this, Cheryl, but it's resistance maybe even in the spiritual community when like if let's say you have a friend who's a tarot card reader and a friend of a friend wants a free reading. I mean, well, and then you're talking to the friend who wants reading and you try to explain to that person that well they get money for this, and then always, and not always, I shouldn't say that.
Well, you're
A
gonna
lot of
have.
times you get the resistance from that person,
Well,
and like, well,
that's what makes us buy into the negative beliefs too. And what
exactly.
unfortunately what you have to do is you have to understand and accept the fact that a lot of people have negative definitions when it comes to money. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are going to be ridiculing you. Can you stand up to that wall of ridicule? Many people can't, and that's why they don't do what they love to do. And then the people that do, like Daryl Anka, getting all that smoke blowed up his,
Right? Oh my goodness.
and that, I mean, he's like, I'm doing what I want to do. Get out of my way. I'm coming through.
Yes,
And
and
look
then
at
you
how.
have the backlash that I just remember being on his Facebook at one point. I don't know, maybe or was it last fall? And just the people
They
with
really were going at it then.
oh, they were hurting. These
That was when he
these
decided to take down a lot of the videos on YouTube that he was giving for free. Bashar, who's changed my life, and God, where would we even be? I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't feel entitled enough to do this without his formulas. Yeah. So, and would I have been? Would I've even found Bashar if he didn't? You know, he even said then in that thread, I think that everybody was commenting on. You know, not that one, but another one. He said, I used to struggle a lot when people would tell me about monetizing and getting this sort of attention or whatever, you know, and he used to feel really bad about that. But again, having Bashar as his mentor, he overcame that. And it sucks because he's seeing people are upset, and literally it's just because they're having negative beliefs about money, just because they don't make their living doing the things that they love, and they're projecting that onto him. And
it's sad, and it's just how it is in our society, I guess, right now. And I guess you just have to, feel. Give me the word.
Yeah, you have to,
entitled enough
to
ask for the energy exchange of money for what you're doing.
Just don't put any negative resistance on it. When you have that negativity, you're resisting the money. You're like pressing on the negative spring, and it bounces back into your face. Like, if you just leave it alone, just stop having negative beliefs about money, and stop having negative beliefs about, you know, whether somebody should be qualified before they, you know, do this in this way or that way. You know what I mean? All I've been doing is seeking qualifications my whole life because I don't feel entitled enough to do what I want to do. So I've got all these qualifications, and it's still not enough.
I remember, oh my goodness, I was talking to you one night, and it was after Guru gave you your title, your name, and we were trying to figure out what, like, belief therapist, we were trying to figure out what to call you and what you do, and it was like a little bit of a resistance because you didn't know.
I was amused because this is the first time I actually felt entitled enough, you know what I mean, to
yes.
And I was looking at it sort of.
You have done this for countless people, and me included, for how long? And just because someone gave you this name, it made you feel entitled.
Yeah, nothing really. It is a big deal though when your guru gives you a name. It's sort of like a blessing, and it's my guru gave me love, and I'm still just shining from that. So, you know, and it's an imprinted on the higher levels of consciousness. When somebody gives you that, it's like she's making it okay for you to access more archetypes, to access more different permission slips that have been implemented in those higher levels to help others. So I like leveled up in a sense because your guru does. It is a very good permission slip to have one and what they say. But really, nothing happened, and that's why I looked at it so amusingly. I was like, nothing even happened yet. Just now I feel okay. It's because I guess when you stop having the resistance, there's nothing there.
Right.
There's nothing there. I shouldn't not feel entitled enough to seek what I came here for. I came to LA to do this. And you know what I mean? I'm standing in one belief, with one foot with one belief, and another foot in another belief. One, I am entitled enough to do what I searched to do, what I came here to do. And the other one, I'm not, because of mainly buying into other people's projections.
Yes. And I think there's so many of us who have that same problem. Have you ever met, I mean, I guess I've met a few people who feel like 100% sure in what they're, in their self-worth, sure. But I think more so than not, people have that 1 foot in, 1 foot out mentality, and it's really hard to jump right in with both feet.
Yeah. And then you have people that were empowered by, you know what I mean? However, like the people that raised them or whatever, empowered, like, this is what we do. You go up, you own a business, and you feel empowered enough and you feel entitled enough to do what you need to do in that business, and then they're very successful business people, and they're not even doing anything that's good for mankind. But the difference is they feel entitled. So they're manifesting.
Yeah.
All manifestation comes down to is believing that it's yours, believing that this is a normal thing. You reach out and you take the money.
Exactly.
You
Even if
don't
it's
feel
ritually
weird.
based, that's what you do because it's an energy.
Yeah.
You're channeling a lot of times it is more of like a channeling thing if you're doing tarot cards or if you're healing anything like that. Like
Yeah,
that takes energy.
it took it, yeah, like even after Daryl channeled for me,
Yeah.
I was like, that was so amazing. He just went through all that for me, and I gave him the $300, and I was like, I really wish I would have brought a gift too. Like
Right.
$300 for giving me all that. You know? And like, what was I just gonna say? Yeah, I started to look at money, just the whole money thing completely differently. And all these things. Yeah. So in this, like, say you did the tarot card reading for somebody. They asked you, your friend asked if you could do one free for their friend, somebody that you don't even know, and you have to explain that to them that they blah, blah, blah. One thing, when you stop giving resistance to the idea of money, you won't actually run into a lot of clients that aren't going to want to pay you. That's the funny thing. Once you know that this is normal, like I offer this service. Oh, yes, we accept PayPal or, Visa, or you can go, here to pay for it. Oh, yeah, definitely want to make sure I pay you. Okay, yeah. You got the payment, right? All right, cool, let's go. Anyways, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why would somebody not want to pay you?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Well, there's something I need to work on.
Yeah, it just keeps going. Like there's more layers, and that's the thing. Like why are we not following our joys and doing what we want to do and getting paid to do it, and resenting other people who are? It literally.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and somebody even
you
like
stop the negative belief, and then you're fine.
And I see people that are so super passionate about all this, and I see a lot of care in their heart, and they're like, well, I'm still young, I have a lot to learn. And then other people just doing it. And I think those people that are super passionate, just you having that amount of passion, even if you are brand new and you don't know any of this or what's going on, you can go out there and heal people. If you believe in it enough, you feel entitled enough with absolutely no training, you can have.
Because a lot of it is channeling your higher self. It's like you don't even need you don't need to go to these Reiki things if you are connected in that way. It's just
Reiki things.
It's like with me. I mean, sure, I have a basic understanding of the chakras and things like that, but when I do the things that I do, I have no idea. Like I'm guided.
You're learning as you go.
Exactly. Like it's like something just shows me what I'm supposed to do, and I just do it.
Even when you're doing like a job for a corporation or something, they get interns. Right. The intern knows nothing, and they come in and learn through experiencing it. So fake it till you make it. Not literally fake it till you make it, like con people. You know what I mean? But intuition sometimes takes a leap off the edge and into the unknown. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You've been really doing this for like a year. Because I met you a year ago on an ADD forum, because we're both ADD, and you're like, yeah, I'm super interested in all this stuff. You had read a couple books, and you were onto some things. You pretty much just really sparked your creativity. So in a year, I would call you one of the best healers I know. When I heard somebody the other day was like, how can I get help? How can you help me? I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know if I can help you, but I know that Rebecca can. So, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about right here. A year is not a long time.
Not at all.
And
nope. And crazy things can happen in a year spiritually wise, and when the planets align, like it just rolls, and then you're guided to find the right people at the right time that, hook up that, can teach you what you need to know at that point. And then it seriously is like this maze that the universe has you in when you're trying to walk the spirituality walk, and it's so fun because it's like, who am I going to meet next? What am I going to learn next? Because you don't even know.
Yeah, living in the moment, living in your
so
now.
Fun. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what happened in a year. Like before I met you, and that was a little bit longer than a year, maybe like a year and a half ago I met you, I think. Before that, I had just
I forget how long it's been,
yeah, I started getting into more of the spirituality type of a thing, probably about, I want to say about 6 months before I met you. I mean, sure, I've been going, after '08, I did talk therapy for like 2-3 years. I was trying, what is that process for like rewiring your brain through
psychotherapy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Like I was doing so much self work that I think spirituality was just the next step for me, because it was like I talked my brains out, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a therapist who was pretty good at like telling me how important positive thinking was and things like that, but I didn't grasp it until I got into spirituality. And for about 6 months before I met you, I was going on websites and reading a bunch of articles, and I had books on different things. But all of a sudden, you came on one of my threads from an ADD website, and it was
talking
like,
about ETs, right?
It was what it was I was like upset because my having ADD. I don't know what happened. That I was like upset, like my brain, like
yeah.
And then you're like, look at it as a positive, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl is speaking my language, because everybody on that ADD site was so negative about having it as a condition, that it was just like a breath of fresh air when you're like, think about it positively. And I'm like, and then I went onto your Facebook, and I saw that you're all spiritual, and I'm like, oh, I can learn something from this chick.
I was like, in that group, I was actually thinking like, wow, a whole land of people with ADD, surely I'm gonna find my tribe in here. And I was met with like, boom, you're wrong, ADD is a curse, there's nothing positive about it, we're all screwed, like.
I know. Oh, if you want to be really sad about yourself when you have ADD, you go onto that forum.
Yeah, go ahead and milk your negativity, lock yourself down into the negative beliefs, which I actually want to talk about more when we get back from this commercial break. And we'll see you guys shortly. Hi guys, welcome back to Esoteric Wisdom with Cheryl and Becky. We're talking about bringing her on as a full-time host. Why don't you guys comment in the chat box on United Pagan Radio and tell us if that's a good idea? Or like us on Facebook. You can go to the Esoteric Wisdom and like us there. I'm not going to be on the show next week, though. It'll probably be Craig and Becky. We'll see how that goes, though. So, we were talking about monetizing services that you want to do for mankind, and why that's a completely neutral and natural thing to receive abundance. Back in the day when we had trade, everybody just took care of each other. In the village, the person that was the healer got fed by the other villagers because of the service they were giving. They didn't have money, but now that we have money, we're like, no, I don't deserve to be fed for the service I'm giving you. Somehow that logic works.
Speaking of like back in the day when you had like tribes, right? I think about this a lot. I have 3 kids, and didn't they, like really help each other when it's like when you're raising your kids, you had like extended family just around that would like help the people raise the kids, because it's so important for them to get different opinions and different knowledge from different people. But nowadays it's so much different. I don't know what's best.
Yeah. Like they encouraged the play and the creativity, and they didn't have all these rigid, strict rules that didn't really make sense, other than to encourage a dark age of superficial indulgence and capitalism. But yeah. But I really think about this a lot, of course. I'm like me and Becky both are part Native American, and I think there was a Native American chief that once said, "You've got even a drop of Native American blood, you are Native." And the reason he says that is because your ancestors will reach you full force. It doesn't matter if you're full blooded or have one drop. Your ancestors are screaming in your face.
Yes, we talked about that. That, yeah, like throughout my life, I've been guided so loudly, almost. Like, and a lot of it was, I'm assuming a lot of it is because of my ancestry.
It's one permission slip. I mean, everybody's got several permission slips. Like my ex.
I love permission slips.
Yeah. My ex was heavily connected with all things shaman, and they didn't have any Aboriginal or Native American blood. So, you know what I mean? There's other permission slips with your oversoul.
Right.
Yeah. Your bloodline is one permission slip. Your oversoul is another permission slip. But yeah, you love permission slips.
I love them.
Yes.
That's how I want to say I got into all this, was crystals. I went to a crystal shop, and that was it, man. I think I've learned so much from my crystals. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I walked past a crystal shop once. Or no, I was going to the crystal shop, but we had walked past it, and I got a download. You get those downloads that like ring, ring, and then all of a sudden I was able to like read somebody's mind that was way across the street. I had like this intense psychic gift that just bam kind of came, and I was like, whoa. And then I realized what crystals can do. They do random crap. Yeah.
So intelligent almost, and it's a great permission slip for one. It's like, how do I explain it? It's gentle, right? So you have a few crystals you like will have in your pockets during the day, or when you're laying down at night, you can like put them on you, and once you get accustomed to their vibration, they have such a high and steady vibration. And humans have like these vibrations like roller coasters, right? So when you have
so they acclimate your energy to
Yes, they make your energy more stable. And when you have anxiety issues, like, or anything like that, it's such a blessing. It's really interesting how they do that.
And I loved how you said that they're intelligent, and like how, like, I look at the crystals as they're like little portals. And like if you look inside the crystal, they're like billions of microscopic tetrahedrons stacked up on top of each other, and they're in perfect the pi ratio or whatever. If you shone a microscopic laser beam onto one facet of those tiny microscopic tetrahedrons, it would bounce infinitely within that crystal off of the facets of the tetrahedron, and it would amplify, it would speed up to the point of 0 and back, and so it creates an invert into another dimension. So crystals are like little portals. So they have the double.
How cool is that?
Yeah. So they have the permission slip of a double pointed crystal is so powerful because it comes in and goes out. It like transmutes something really full force, whereas another one might. I don't know. I think about this stuff when I'm meditating sometimes. It's super cool, and you have the different types of compounds, and I've even found a lot of power in a piece of glass before. So
Really?
You can enchant. Yeah, you can create talisman or amulets that are just a piece of plastic or something. Or like the resin statues, as they solidify, the Buddhist monks will like chant within it, and they're meditating and creating all this energy. So as those resin Buddha statues that were created at the monastery solidify, or as they become hard, they lock in that vibration. You know what I mean? This is all permission slips.
That is so cool. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, everything in the world is a permission slip. Really, you have to
make it like that, And I feel like these things like sage and crystals and the things that have such a long history behind them are just so easy for you to resonate with. And it just makes it so almost effortless, and it's amazing. They're God-given little pieces of rock that really do help you. It's so cool.
Yeah, and like the birth, like when you like break the crystals and they're like mining the crystals and they shatter them and like all these baby crystals are born. Like each of them, each of them like configures to a different part of the universe, to taps into a different archetype from some aspect of creation somewhere, and like gains its own little unique identity, and in a way becomes a soul, because the rock is consciousness. And
Exactly.
and when you change some, its permission slip to be conscious is the fact that it has a material substance. It's a rock. So when you break that rock into a billion pieces, it like almost like you're creating, I don't know, I think about that, like you're creating new life, new different types of consciousness all break off from that.
Ooh, I never thought about that, but you're totally right.
Yeah, each rock is conscious, just like each plant has a
Exactly.
consciousness. Yeah, yeah. I totally trip out thinking about this all the time.
Yes. And then speaking of like plants, I know that I have a friend that I was just talking to, and she's able to like communicate with trees. Like I don't know if she can like talk to them, or I don't know, but and I feel like that's probably what you can do also
Yep.
to crystals.
Absolutely. Some people have it easier with crystals because it's like a language you speak, and you're always communicating with them on the higher levels.
Sure.
You're just not aware that the trees tell us things all the time. The crystals tell us things all the time. I first really resonated with a plant. Like I talked to a few plants, the clovers, the dandelions, stuff like that. The ones that are everywhere. We talk a little bit. The ones that are everywhere seem to be pretty talkative. They're very active. Their consciousness is, there's a lot of it on the planet. So, anyways, when I was in England and I was so super upset. Me and Craig got in an argument, and I went off walking down the Rowler, like the only part of nature that there is in England. There's like tiny little bits of nature like begging for attention.
That girl.
But at the same time, even though there was only teeny tiny bits of nature, that nature was very strong. Like,
Oh, God,
amazingly enough, it was very, very, the spirits are very strong there, where they're creeping out of the cracks of the Industrial Revolution. But
yeah.
anyways, then the nettle plant, I was so upset over that, and I was thinking like, oh my god, like feeling like a rock bottom type feeling, and then the nettle plant just, bam, just spoke to me, and their consciousness was so chill that compared to mine, they made me feel better when I connected with them on that level. And they said, we help your hair. You're always talking about your hair. We help that. We help allergies. We help your PMS, your cramps. The nettle plant told me, it said, we literally fix everything that's wrong with you, girl. And they were like arrogant. They sting, the nettle plant. And I was just like, what's going on? Why do I think I'm talking to a plant? I've lost my mind. I went back home, me and Craig made up. I Googled it, and like the first 5 things that they're really for was the first things that the nettle plant told me they're good for. And I knew then how our ancestors knew what the plants could do for you.
Yeah.
The plants told them.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
That makes so much. Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
But even sometimes the nature spirits are kind of like, they don't know what they're talking about a little bit. Like this one tree told me I'm gonna die. Well, it's not that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I actually knew what he was talking about. He was like, my life is over, and he was upset, and he was telling me about his life and telling me about things, and I got scared thinking that these people's houses were gonna get crushed if he fell. But I didn't realize that tree he's saying soon, that's still probably like 100 years from now.
Right.
The life of a tree is so long.
Oh my goodness, how cool is that?
Yeah, they are sneaky and tricky. Sometimes they make fun of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that they make fun of us, but they live in such glee, and they make fun of each other, and they just kind of live like that, They that's just how they are. So when you tap into them, it's almost kind of like they're in laughter, they're laughing.
So now, is that what they talk about with like elementals, or is that something else?
That's something different. Let me think about that, because Bashar has talked about this. Apparently, he's channeled one. Daryl Anka has channeled an elemental. Yeah. I think elementals are sort of like, maybe they're like overseers of those types of communities of nature and rock. You know what I mean? They're sort of like, I don't know how many there are. It seemed like I heard Bashar say that there's only a few. And if there's only a few, that means that they're probably overlords of those like communities of different types of entities, like spirit, the plant spirits are tied to the plant. You know what I mean? But this elemental is not tied to a specific incarnation. It's like a god of the plant world or something. But I don't know. That's a complete guess.
We should figure that one out.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people listening in that know. If you do know anything about the elementals, why don't you comment? Comment.
Please, I want to know. I'm very interested. I was told once that I have a lot of fairy energy around me, so I'm assuming that would be like an elemental, correct?
They feel like fairies, but according to Bashar, fairies are a little different. I think fairies just exist on a completely different dimension. But I think if you feel... The plants feel like fairies, though.
I would assume. Yeah.
ETs feel like fairies. Not the ETs, but the hybrid children feel like fairies. They're like, we're full of so much love, and we just want everything to be okay. Everything's okay. You're okay. You're okay. We love you. I think we gotta go. I think this is the time for the commercial break. So we will see you guys shortly after this break. Welcome back to Esoteric Wisdom with Cheryl and Becky.
Yay.
And let's see, what were we talking about?
Oh man, fairies.
Fairies! Yes! I don't know if you guys know who Daniel Scranton is. We're always talking about channelers like Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, and Roxanne Swainhart, who channels Osifius and Sly, who's super entertaining, and Daniel Scranton, who is quite the card, gorgeous person, always wonderfully happy, and channels Ophelia the Fairy, and Kuan Yin, and a few others. So we're going to get a couple channelers on the show and future episodes, so look forward to that. My Guru Anandini, Mahashakti Anandini Ma, channels Osho, and I mean, you know, I think everybody channels. It's just these people are doing a different type of channeling where they're aware that they're channeling the being because they're trance channeling. They trance out, get out of the body, another thing comes in. So it's pretty obvious that they're channeling, but I think everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'll channel once in a while, and I can only notice because I don't know, like I feel more confident when I'm talking, or when I'm healing someone, I know I'm channeling because I'm, you know, like doing things that I wouldn't know how to do otherwise.
Yeah, you're channeling your own higher mind.
Exactly. But you're not, you know, getting out of the body and letting something else in or whatnot. So I think it's kind of hard to figure if you are channeling in the respect that, like, I would channel in, opposed to like a Roxanne where she's out and something else is in, you know? It's interesting how they do that.
Well, you know, and what really helped bring it home was when Roxanne, and I can empathize with her a little bit of confusion, just a little bit, when she was saying, she was like, you know, because she's been channeling Osifius and Sly for so long, and Sly told her, me and Osifius are the same, and what you don't realize yet is that we're actually an aspect of you too. So in a way, when Roxanne channels Osifius and Sly, she too is just channeling an aspect of her own higher mind. And
exactly.
The permission slip comes through, like, it's such an extreme thing what Daryl and her and other people are doing, but essentially, anytime we ever have a new idea that doesn't come from our thinking mind, it's channeled.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's like...
It's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, we're always, when we write poetry, when we paint beautiful pictures, you know, a lot of times I'll just be... What's that?
When we're creating anything,
yeah.
Really.
When I'm speaking sometimes, especially back in like 2008, when I would be speaking, I would literally be telling myself while I was saying it, I'd be like, who knows this, what I'm saying? I didn't know this before I'm saying it. I literally would say things, and I'm learning from myself while I say it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, exactly. That's channeling. And a lot of people don't even know that they're channeling their dead ancestors, their guides, they're channeling ETs all the time. Everybody's channeling extraterrestrials and they don't know it. It's hilarious.
It is, isn't it? That's awesome. awesome.
And they don't believe. Yeah. Yeah, meditation, channeling, and brain waves. So, like, a lot of people, when they're laying down to go to sleep, they will all of a sudden be bombarded with amazing, unique, creative, intelligent ideas that are solving all the world's problems. And they're like, why is it my brain? You see these memes on Facebook. I see it. It's like brain all of a sudden wakes up. Like the brain's dead all day long and then finally wakes up the second you try to go to sleep. And nobody understands this big mystery why this happens. And the reason why that happens is because you finally relaxed and entered into a meditative state. It takes passing out for us to let go enough to let our higher mind in.
Right.
And so even when you're meditating, you vibrate at, first you go in through alpha, then theta, delta, and then spike to gamma, which all, even though they go down in vibration, Vishar told me last time that's actually going up. We're just perceiving it that way. So gamma, it would be like the next state. And so when you get your brain into that mode, all sorts of stuff, spiritual stuff that's like backed up is going to come out. So a lot of times when people first start meditating and they're awake, they're not meditating for a few minutes before they pass out or in a loop of thinking, you know what I mean, meditating that way, having like lots of creative ideas. When you first meditate, you get yourself into such a state by, I'll just explain the process. The one technique that I always give to people who can't seem to even get their thoughts into to slow down enough to find space between the thoughts, is to count your breaths in and out as one cycle. So breathing in, out, count 1. In, out, count 2. Count your breaths in and out as one count all the way to 10 and then back to 1. And when you get to 1, start over all the way to 10 and back to 1. You'll lose your count because you'll start thinking about things. You literally won't know where you're at. Start back over from 1. If you use this to condition your mind into transcendental meditation, transcending the thinking mind to a 0.0 awareness, this does something to your brain. It does something to your brain, like almost like electroshock therapy, the idea of how that heals you. It opens up all your receptors. You no longer have a thought that's just going down one way because it's addicted to doing that. All the doors are open and there's almost like a nothingness. So any idea that needs to travel down one of those corridors is all of a sudden finding all the doors open. It's like, wow, hey, the door to the frontal lobe is open. Let's get there and give her this idea. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, when they first start meditating, they get there and they're like, wow, I know exactly what to do. And then go off on a tangent, and then they don't actually implement doing the meditation every day. And if they don't implement doing the meditation every day, that will fade off. So Guru Ma always says, especially to beginners, let's see, 7 days without meditation makes somebody, makes 1 week, right? Makes one WEAK. So yeah, if you go 7 days and you don't do the transcendental meditation, when you're trying to implement this and you're trying to get your mind to stop doing what our ADD minds do, it'll just slip. You kind of slip. Even though if you do that technique that I'm telling, the transcendental meditation, you do that just once, something will change within you. You do it 3 times, more will change. You do it for 3 weeks. Try 3 years.
You really need to remind me, because I was doing it when you were telling me that, when you were talking about it. I'm like, oh my goodness, yes. Because I was doing it. I want to say like a month ago. I was like doing it every day. And then all of a sudden, like, I just stopped for some reason. I don't know why. But I was getting into such a great state that, I don't know, it is kind of amazing, because I know that, I mean, obviously 6 months in spiritual terms, like, so much can change. But I remember trying to do it 6 months ago and not being able to do it whatsoever. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, like a month ago, we were talking about this, and I started doing it, and I was doing really good. But then I forgot.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say something that my guru won't agree with, but
Yes.
I mean, I know that even though everything has an exception, and with most human beings this is the case, but I think with some human beings, maybe that maybe that type of meditation every single day, no matter what, isn't what your soul wants, I guess. Maybe it
Yeah.
will change your mind, it will change the way that you think, but I really think that the way your hyper focus leads you is a
Yeah.
super amazing, awesome thing. And I really don't know. I mean, whatever she tells you to do, and she hasn't even given you anything, which is also like completely amusing
Yeah.
to me. I'm like kind of wondering, like, what's this woman gonna do? Because she knows you have a pure open heart. There's no reason not to go forward with the sadhana.
Yeah.
But she's waiting, and this means that she's going to do something unique with you. And as far as this goes, now that I've handed you over to her, I say just do what you're going to do and then follow her directions completely, 100%. Don't even listen to me anymore
Right.
at this
Right.
point because she knows more than I do. I'm going to go ahead
Yep.
and
But
say
I
that
love
this
it.
woman is
It
amazing.
was definitely helping. It was getting me into like a really great state. And then some, it just life gets in. You get busy and you get focused on something else, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why she so adamantly believes in meditation every day. There's like a
Yes.
Chinese proverb that says, if you meditate for 15 minutes every day, no matter what, unless you're too busy. In that case, meditate for an hour every day. And my guru is just like, children, meditate. I want to reach you. I want to get through to you. You need to do the work. You've got a lot of meditation to get under your belt, and that's how she looks at it. So if I'm dealing with some people and I feel the urge to tell them, you need to meditate, you need to meditate, you need to meditate, you need to do this, this yoga, you need to do this energy work, because she's so adamant about it. But I'm not so positive whether it's the right thing for everybody. But I do know that probably is for 99.9% of you.
Exactly. It's always good to get out of your head. It reduces stress anyway, and our culture is all about stress. So